Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Crocheters Creed, and today we are going to be making Barrel from The Nightmare Before Christmas. I've made something of Barrel on this channel before, but it was a purse, but I did get a request to make Barrel as a actual amigurumi. So these are the materials that you will need. You will need your black yarn, your white yarn, and yellow yarn. And you will also need a lime green yarn. Now the needles that you will need are, you will first need a 3mm hook. You will need a 2mm hook. And you will also need a 2.5mm hook. You will also need your yarn needle, a stitch marker, of course, your scissors. And to make this project easier, for certain parts, I would recommend a glue gun, but that's entirely up to you. And of course, pillow stuffing, but I can't put it all up on the counter. Okay, so of course, if you hear any noise, my cat's in the background, and we are going to start off with our legs first. So you're going to take your 3mm hook, and your white yarn, and you're going to make a magic circle. Gonna make a magic circle, and you're gonna put 6 single crochet into that magic circle. So gonna do 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Alright, gonna pull that through, and now this is your magic circle. I forgot my stitch marker, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to go into that first stitch that we did. I'm going to go into that first stitch that we did. I'm going to do a single crochet. Now you're going to add that stitch marker. Now starting on row 1, you're going to, for row 1, you're going to go into the next stitch and do an increase, a single crochet increase. So there's your increase right there. And you're going to go into that next stitch and do a single crochet. Go into that next stitch and do an increase, and you're going to repeat this all the way around for row 1. Now in my written pattern, of course, it'll say corresponding, and you just do corresponding. What I mean by that is that you do, the row that you are on will tell you the pattern of single crochets that you need to be doing into that round. So I did my single crochet. We're going to go into that next stitch and do an increase. I'm going to go into that next stitch, do a single crochet. We're going to go back into the stitch marker, and we're just going to do a single crochet. We're going to move our stitch marker. We're going to move on to row 2. Row 2 is the same thing for corresponding. You're going to go into that next stitch. You're going to do an increase. Oh, come on. Going to do an increase. Okay. So we did an increase. 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches now for row 2. So that was your first single crochet, your second single crochet. You're going to do an increase in that next stitch. And then you're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and you're going to repeat that all the way around for row 2, doing 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, increase 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and so on until you get back to your stitch marker. All right, now I'm back to my stitch marker. I just did my last 2 single crochets, and now I'm going back into the stitch with my stitch marker, and I'm just going to single crochet. And for rows 3 through 9, you are going to single crochet in every stitch around. Now, this is the pattern, but if you want to do it longer or shorter, depending on how you want to make Barrell and how long you want him to, you can make more rows or less rows, but I did 3 through 9, rows 3 through 9, I did 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So I'm going to do those. Of course, you have to make 2, and then I will come back to show you how to join them and begin to make the torso. Okay, so I've done my legs, and now I'm going to, this is my first leg. I'm on my second. I finished my second leg, and I left a long tail of white for some reason. I'm just going to tuck that in there, but make sure both of your legs are done. And this was the stitch that had my stitch marker in it. To line it up, I'm just going to go into that next stitch and do a slip stitch. And I'm going to chain, well, I chained 1, but you're supposed to chain, hold on, I'm looking at my pattern. All right, now you're going to join the legs by chaining 6. So I already chained 1. I'm going to do 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you're going to take your other leg, and I usually join it in the area that we ended on, and that looks like the part that it's on. So I'm going to go into that next stitch. Go into that next stitch, and you're going to yarn over, and you're going to slip. We're going to go through the thing, not yarn over, and pull through. So now that you have that, you're going to chain 1, Miney, and you're going to insert your stitch marker. Okay, so because we've just finished rows 3 through 9, this is now row 10, but we're going, it's still on the legs, but we're going to move up towards the torso. So technically we're working in the torso now. So once the legs are joined, you chain 1, and this is where your stitch marker will go and continue to go. So for row 10, you're going to single crochet into the next, let me see, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in that 4th one, no, we're going to do 5. So I single crocheted in the next 1, 2, 3, 4. I single crocheted in the next 4 stitches, and in that middle, in that stitch, which is right down almost lined up to the middle of the leg, you're going to do an increase in the middle of the leg. And then you're going to single crochet back until you hit this chain. But for technicality purposes, after you do your increase, you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, if I can get in there. Now we're at the chain, one moment. Okay, so now we've reached the chain. You're going to single crochet. Now to make it line up a little bit easier, I'm going to go into that stitch right there. That's right at the corner. And you're going to single crochet down that chain. Hey, hold on. Girl, stop. You're going to hurt yourself. Single crochet. You're going to go into that corner stitch, single crochet. Now, see that's attached right here. So you're going to go into that next stitch and single crochet. Now, we're going to do the same thing we did on the other leg. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and 5. Now because that didn't really, 5, because that didn't really line up with this side, I'm just going to put it in the 6th stitch. So that's an increase. I'll have that in the pattern. But really, all you do is when you get to the middle part, so say this is your legs, when you get to the side of the legs, you just want an increase on as close as you can get it to the middle of the side of the leg as possible. So mine was the sixth stitch on the other leg. So after you did your increase, you're going to go back and you're going to single crochet back around. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on. Sorry, my cat, I'm charging my phone and my cat wanted to pull on the cord and it's directly connected to my thing. Okay, so you do 6 single crochet after the increase, and you're going to single crochet back down that chain on the opposite side until you reach your stitch mark. Now my legs are almost joined. I'm going to go into that next stitch that seems really tight, do a single crochet. Oh, that was actually the stitch of the single crochet. I was wondering why it looked weird. Okay, so you do a single crochet into the stitch marker. And now for rows 11 and 12, you are just going to single crochet in every stitch around for rows 11 and 12. Ooh. Okay, so now we're down to row 13. I've just finished my row 11 through 12. This is where I'm back at. Now I'm not going to start stuffing it, but the longer you get, the more you get to the top of the torso, I would suggest stuffing as you go, but not too close. Maybe a row down so that you can still crochet around, because I hate when I crochet and it gets caught up in the stitches. So for row 13, in my pattern, it just says decrease on sides of legs, single crochet in between. That's for basically, that's freeballing it really. But it'll be sort of how we did row 10, where when we get to the side of the leg, straight as if you're standing here, when you get to the side of the leg, you would decrease. But I'm going to show you the how many stitches in between those decrease. But truthfully, it doesn't matter. I'm just doing it for technicality's sake. But it doesn't matter. You just want to make sure when you turn your work that you line the stitch up. So that would probably be the stitch. This one would probably be the stitch that you go into for the decrease. And make sure it's lined up to the side, because now we're trying to tighten the torso. So we're starting out and we're going to go into that next stitch. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, let me see. Actually, let's just do 3 there. So you're going to single crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then you're going to do a decrease, and that lines up directly with the side. I hope that's focused. That lines up directly with the side. So let me type that in. Next 3 stitches. Okay, now decrease. Now we're going to go in and you're going to single crochet around until we get back to this side. So I'm going to count the single crochets, but in the pattern it's just going to say single crochet until you get to the other leg, but I'll show you here. So we just did our decrease, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Ooh, come on. 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Hold on, let me unravel this. 16. Now we're at 16. So I'm going to do one more. So that's 17 stitches. And then that's sort of lined up to the side. Now we're going to go into that next stitch and we're going to pull up and we're going to do a decrease. And then after that, you're just going to single crochet back down the rest of the row until you get to the stitch marker. But I'm going to type that in my thing just to make sure. But then you're going to single crochet back down to the rest of the row. So we just hit the decrease, just single crochet back till you hit the stitch marker, and I'll move on to row 14. All right, now this is what we have so far. Now for row 14, you are just going to single crochet in every stitch around for row 14. Okay, before I go on, I do want to say this, that if while you're doing the pattern and your level of stitches does not match up to the level of what I'm doing, or it's not matching up from the tutorial, especially during these decrease stitches or these decrease rows, it's perfectly okay. I'm not that technical with stuff like this. If I were just doing it regularly, I would sort of eyeball it and freeball it, and it still adds up and it still makes the body. But for these videos, of course, I need to be more technical. When I do the stitches and I mark the stitches in between, that is what I got. But if you don't happen to get that while you're still doing it, it's perfectly fine. Because all that I'm really saying, to be, I guess, a little bit more technical, is that with the stitch marker, our stitch marker started pretty much there when we first began, but see, mine has started to move. With that, the more you do the decrease and the increase that we did further on in the torso, you want to make sure that whatever you're doing, the increase at the very beginning made sure that it didn't just look, you weren't single crocheting directly up. I wanted it to basically make a thigh, so it was a bit bigger as the it was a bit bigger as you went up, because that's why we did the decrease. But as we're slowly getting up to the stomach of the body, you want to start to decrease to make it look, I guess, curve in and make it look like a body. So with that being said, if you're not getting the stitches that I'm getting, the easier way that I could tell you is that when you put your stitch marker in at the very beginning and you single crochet, once you get to the side of the leg, especially with the decreases, make sure that when you're doing your decreases, you try to line it up to the best that you can on the side of the leg. So for instance, now my stitch marker is here, so it's not that far that I have to go to get to my decrease because it's going to move. That's technical, but it doesn't really matter. You just have to make sure that when you get to the side of the leg, you're doing a decrease, but you want to make sure that wherever you start that, you do it in the stitch before that so that it lines up directly to the leg. So for instance, like for now, row 15, my next stitch, even though my stitch marker is here, my next stitch, if I want to do my decrease, is right there. So you do a decrease there, and that lines up to the middle. You just want to make sure that you're decreasing and increasing as much as you can on the middle part of the leg. Then, so in that one, I decreased at the very beginning. That's what I'll put in the pattern, but again, it does not really matter as long as you can hit it on the side of the leg. So I did my decrease. Now I'm just going to single crochet back across the torso until I get to the other side of my leg. This is the easiest way that I could put it, where you don't have to worry too much about the amount of stitches that need to be in it. Because sometimes when mine don't count up to what somebody else is doing, I start to get frustrated because it's not working. This is just the easier way of doing it for What is that? So I'm almost to the side of my leg, single crocheting. Now I'm going to single crochet in this next stitch here. And now we've reached the side of our leg. So again, this lining up the side of the leg, that stitch, the next stitch there, we start the decrease so that it would line up directly down the middle. So I'm going to go into that next stitch. I'm sorry about the noise. Lord have mercy. Sorry. We're going to go into that next stitch and we're going to do a decrease. And then that's just on the side of the leg. Now you go back and you single crochet until you get to the end of the stitch marker. That's a simplified version of what I mean when I say don't really worry about the stitches in between. It's just easier that way, I feel. Also, it's easier for me too, because I don't have to worry about specific stitching because I'm not I'm not slip stitching in this pattern either. The pattern begins to sort of basically spiral and the stitch marker will begin to move. So technicality sort of goes out the window afterwards because it's not in the same spot that it's supposed to be. But this just makes it easier because I have trouble lining my work up. It just makes it easier where you don't see this long jagged end because you messed up something. Okay, so I'm back to my stitch marker. Put my single, I don't know if you saw that, but I got to my stitch marker. We're gonna move that up, and for row 16, you are just going to single crochet in every stitch around for row 16. All right, now we're done with row 16. We're going to move on to row 17. And I will, again, for those who want to know exactly the stitching, I will say that, get down. I will say what it is, but I will also, for those who either had trouble or don't mind going through, when you reach the sides, of course, you're doing the decrease. So for row 17, because my stitch marker is here, you decrease in the beginning and the end of the row. So I'm going to do a decrease since it's already sort of there. You know what? I'm going to take my stitch marker out. I feel like that may confuse everyone. But I'm going to take my stitch marker out because now it's sort of moved. Again, it keeps moving and there's really no need for it. But we are on row 17. So because my single crochet ended right here, the decrease that I'm going to do when I come back around, because I can't do it here because it's not in the middle of the leg. So what we're going to do is, it says 2 decreases in the beginning and the end. Because I'm still on the far side of this, I'm going to start to single crochet. So if that made any sense, I hope that made sense. So because the line is already here, and we can't really do a decrease without doing a increase to go into that stitch because that will line up directly to it. When we come back around and we single crochet back around here, that's when we will do our decrease because it can line up and the decrease will come back to here, if that makes sense. So don't worry about the stitch marker, get that out your way. And we're on row 17. So we're going to go in. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we're just single crocheting in the stitches for right now. Just one single crochet. Oh Lord, what number did I count? Hold on. We were at 8. Okay, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Well, no, let's do 15. 15 there. So 15 there. As you see, we've gotten to the other side of this leg. Mighty, stop. Other side of this leg. Now let me write this down just in case for a second. So, and next 15. All right, so we're gonna do a decrease in this next stitch. So that's 15. We're gonna go into that next stitch. We're gonna do a decrease. I feel like that lines it up a little bit more. Actually, should I have gone into that next stitch? I think I was right, yeah. And the next 15, sorry guys. I mean 16. So that's 16. Let me correct that. This is what happens when you squeeze your amigurumi. Okay, 16 stitches. Go into that next stitch and you're going to do a decrease. There's your decrease. That lines up pretty well, I feel. After the decrease, you're going to continue to single crochet back around until we get to this side. Now again, we've just come here. There's no stitch marker, so I know it's a little harder to see it, but our stitch ended about right there. So I'm going to count the stitches. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then we're going to do 15. And now we've gotten back to the side of the leg. Got back to the side of the leg. So we're going to do 15. Now we're going to do our decrease. And that is row 17. Now again, you see it's starting to form. So let me make sure I type all this out. All right. So now for row 18, you're just going to single crochet in every stitch around. Now I'm going to add back my stitch marker, but just ignore it. I'm going to do it on camera so that you won't get confused. But sometimes when I'm doing my patterns, I have a tendency to get lost a lot in my patterns if I don't pay attention. My mind wanders a lot. So don't worry about the stitch marker. This is just for me, but just keep following along. So for row 18, we're going to single crochet in every stitch around. So I'm going to keep single crocheting around. Ignore the stitch marker. The stitch marker doesn't matter at this point. It's for me to remember which side I started and which side I ended, because it's pretty obvious where you started, but I lose focus a lot. So we're going to single crochet around. Now my next one that I want to do is shock, I think, because lock, shock, and barrel. I think lock is the double-headed boy, I think. And I want to make him, because my last tutorial of that was garbage, and I want to redo that and make it a little better. And so I want to redo shock, lock, whatever his name. I think it's lock, Leia, lock, shock, and barrel. And then I'll move on to different ones, because I've been going through my videos and seeing which ones are the worst and which ones I want to redo. And I don't have that many left to do. If anybody else can find some that, it wasn't explained properly, or, just wasn't shown properly, because I had a tendency to do that in my previous videos, just shoot me a message. But I'll go back and still look, but I can't think of anything right now besides a couple videos that I will redo in between me making other things that I do want to do. Okay, so that's row 18. Now, again, ignore my stitch marker. That was just for me. Moving on to row 19. Because, again, we ended on the side of, we ended on the side of this, we can't decrease at the very beginning. So I'm going to leave that stitch marker, I'm going to take that stitch marker out now. Doesn't really matter now. It doesn't matter anyway. It was just for me, like I said. Now for row, what does that say? 19? Yeah, for row 19, you're going to decrease in the beginning and end of the row. So again, because this is on the side and we want to make sure our decreases are on the side, we're just going to have to single crochet and we'll do the decrease when we get back to the beginning. So we're going to go in, do a single crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So let me put that down. Next 14. Now we're going to do a decrease. Again, we're on the side. We're going to do a decrease. Now, don't you jump up here. No, don't you do that. No, Miney, you get down. All right, now we did our decrease. Now we're going to go back to the other side. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and let's see, 14. So next 14. And then now we're back to the beginning, even though our stitch marker isn't there anymore. And we're going to do a decrease. All right, so that is row 19. All right. Oop, did one too many. All right, now for row 20, you're going to go into that next stitch. Oh, girl. You're going to go into that next stitch, and you've already done a decrease, so you're going to do a single crochet in that next stitch, then a decrease, then a single crochet, and you're going to repeat this pattern all the way around for row 20. So on my decrease, my single crochet, I'm going to go in and decrease, and you're going to keep doing this. Now I'm going to show you on camera because the stitch marker is no longer there, and it might be harder for you to figure out when the row is ending because there's no longer a stitch marker, but I got you. So we're at the decrease, almost back to the end. Gonna single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease. We're almost to the other side again. Decrease, single crochet, decrease, and that we have gotten back to the side of our row. So that is for row 20. And now we're moving on. Sorry, my cat is playing with my stuffing. Single crochet. She can't get any though. She's just playing with the bag. Boop, girl. Single crochet, and you're going to repeat that. Now for row 21, you are just going to single crochet in every stitch around for row 21. So I'm going to, again, show this because you may not know where your row ends. I think it's just easier to show it on camera. So that was the end of row 20. We're moving on to row 21. We're just going to single crochet in every stitch around. My cat stole my chair. She's saying, "You're not giving me enough attention." I'm still here. I'm right here. I see you. Get down. You just hit the side. And I do the single crochet rows in between the decreases so that it doesn't start to scrunch and look strange. Single crochet, almost to the beginning. Single crochet, single crochet. And we're basically at the beginning now. But I'm going to put a single crochet there. That's the beginning. Single crochet. Now, see how it's starting to get tighter. Now I'm going to continue. I'm going to start stuffing mine a little bit more as I go. But we stopped on row 21. I would continue to stuff yours and we'll come back for row 22. All right, now that's how the body, I'm going to turn it sideways. This is how the body's starting to turn out. So we're moving on to row 22. And I might have stuffed it too much. Let me pull that down a little bit. That's my cat. She's got the zoomies. All right, for now, for row 22, you're again going to repeat that pattern of a decrease and single crochet. So we're going to do our decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, come on, decrease, hope I was in the camera for that, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet. Now we're basically, oh well, that's the side, yeah. So we end on that decrease. So that is row 22. Now for row 23, the only reason I'm typing this is because just for extra, I guess. Now for row 23, you're going to single crochet in every stitch around. You've made it back to the side. You're going to single crochet in every stitch around for row 23. Don't get, hey girl, get down. Miney, get your tail down. Ooh, she's working on my nerves. I'm right here. I'll play with you in just a second. I think I said this in my last video. I don't understand how I can give her so much attention. Give her so much attention, all the cuddles and hugs and love in the world. And stop talking to her for like 5 minutes. And she just acts as if she has just never been loved in her life. I don't understand it. She's so dramatic. Don't you jump up here. All right, now we're back to the sides. Side, since the side here, I'm trying to line it up. That's the end of row 23, I'm pretty sure. Now, after this, we are just going to continue row 23. We're going to continue this pattern of, so you don't really have to count these rows, but I'll put it in the pattern, written pattern, remainder, decrease. All right, so I'm going to start stuffing mine because it is starting to form at the very top and we're almost done. I'm going to add a little bit more stuffing to the top. And then you're not really worrying about rows anymore because we're about to finish. We're going to do a single crochet and decrease alternate. So you're going to, I'm going to stuff this. What are you doing over there? Stop doing that. I'm going to do single crochet. Yeah, so we're going to do a decrease and single crochet alternate. So for this is row 24, we're just going to continue decrease and single crochet really until it closes. So I'm at my decrease, I'm at my single crochet, I'm at my, see, it's getting harder and harder to do this. Single crochet, was decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, and you're just gonna keep repeating this until your Lord, your torso closes. So we're going back in, single crochet, and as you see, it's almost closed. Single crochet, decrease. Now I'm going to add a little bit more stuffing just so that it won't, see, it's not fully stuffed there. But you're going to continue to do that. I'm going to stay just to make sure. Well, let me restart this. So I'm going to start stuffing a little bit more so that it's more spaced and spread out. Let me get a little bit more stuffing. You're so cute. I like to stuff mine to the brim to make it, you want to make sure you push the stuffing around so that it's even. Yeah, I need a little bit more. Let's see, a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Stuff it around here. I want a little bit more. I like mine really tight. I don't like it to be, where's the stuffing? Some over here. I like to make sure everything is really tight. Yeah, that's good. All right. Now we're at our decrease. I'm going to keep doing that single crochet and decrease alternative. I ended on a decrease. I'm going to keep going to the decrease. Hope you can see that. There we go. Decrease my single crochet, my decrease, decrease, my single, oh, is it single crochet? Yep. Single crochet. Ooh, hold on. Messed something up. Hold on. Ooh, what is happening? Oh, Lord. All right, go into that single crochet. You see it starting to close. And the last stitch I think I can do is a decrease. Go into that next stitch and do a decrease. Now, to sort of end it, because that tiny little hole is still there, I'm going to go into that next stitch and I'm just going to slip stitch. So, mold it a little bit. You can figure out which way you want it to go, but it doesn't really matter, back or front. So there is our torso. So I'm going to, after I dip my slip stitch, I'm going to chain one. And I'm going to leave a short tail because I'm going to use the tail of the head to yarn off and leave a longer tail. So just leave a shorter tail, but this is your torso. All right, now again, before I go on, I do want to stress again that, like I said, in the written pattern, for those of you who like the written patterns, in the written pattern, if you don't get the exact stitches that I got in my pattern, a more simplified version, like I said, would be when you are decreasing, you make sure that you line up the stitch to whatever is, if your amigurumi is turned sideways, whatever lines up the closest, the stitch that lines up the closest in the middle to do your decrease. But make sure whatever stitch you choose, to make sure you go into the stitch before that to make a decrease, to make sure it lines up in the middle, just to make sure. And I'll have that in the description and probably also a pinned comment. So now we're moving on to our arms, and you're still going to be using your 3mm hook, and you're going to, the arms are literally made the same way as the legs. I just realized that. But I'm going to say it again, just, because it's the arms, it's a different one, even though it's made the same. So for the arms, you're going to make a magic circle, and you're going to put 6 single crochet into that magic circle. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, you're going to go into that first stitch that you made. Let it focus, please. That first stitch that you made, and you're going to do a single crochet. Now we got to bring the stitch marker back. And for rows 1 and 2, like we did in the legs, you're going to do it to the corresponding row. So row 1, you're going to have an increase. You're going to start with an increase, 1 single crochet, increase 1 single crochet until you get all the way around. It's going to be the same in row 2, meaning with a corresponding, where when you get to the row 2, you will do an increase and do 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. But just to show, again, it's made the same way as the legs, but you're going to go into that next stitch and do an increase, single crochet in that next stitch, do another increase, and you're going to repeat this pattern all the way around for row 1. All right, now we're back at the end of row 1. We're going to go, starting row 2, go into that stitch marker, do a single crochet, and we're starting row 2. Row 2 again with the corresponding. Going to do an increase. Going to do an increase, and then you're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So that was 1, and is that focusing? So increase, and I did 1, and that's the second single crochet. Then you're going to go into that next stitch and do an increase again, and then in the next 2 stitches, that's 1 single crochet, and the next stitch, the second single crochet, and you're going to repeat this pattern all the way around for row 2. All right, we're at the end. That's what it's starting to look like. And we're going to go into that stitch with the stitch marker, do a single crochet, And for rows 3 through 9, again, you're going to do one single crochet in every stitch around. Now, again, like I said, for the legs, if you want to do a smaller amount or a bigger amount, depending on how tall you want Barrel to be, it's up to you. But I did rows 3 through 9, single crochet in every stitch around. And you'll make 2 of these, obviously. And once you come back, we will go into making the pants for Barrel. Okay, now I did a couple more rows because I like my arms a little longer. If you want to follow that, you can. Instead of 3 through 9, I did 3 through 14 because I want it longer in this one than the one that I previously made, but it's all up to you. You can make less or more. So I've got my arms now. I'm going to put these together. I put the tails a little bit longer, but I don't recommend doing that only because once we start making the clothes, you don't want white sewing into black, and the clothes are going to be black. So you don't really need that long of a tail. You need long tails on the sleeves. So I'm going to start with the pants first, and we're going to work our way up to the sleeves for the arms, and then do the shirt. All right, now we're still working with our 3mm hook, and we're going to take our black yarn now, and we're going to start. We're going to start on the pants. Now, how the pants are made is you're going to take your legs and torso, and you're going to chain this also depends on what you want to do. I'll show you what I do, but it's entirely up to you. Now with Barrel, his legs sort of look, his pants sort of are, they're not tight on his legs, but they're not really loose either. So for that, I'm going to, I'm going to make a couple chains and see how this lines up. So let's make 15 for right now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That didn't even make it. Okay, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22, 23, 24, 25. Now this also depends on how big you stuff your legs too. 25, is that 25? Let me recount that real quick. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25. All right, so I'm at 25 single crochets right now, and that's how tight it will be. I think that that's good enough for 25. So you're going to chain 25 or what fits your leg. I chain 25. And now you're going to join the legs together. So I chain 25. I'm going to go into that first stitch that we did, and we're going to slip stitch. Now the only reason I slip stitch during this is because it helps it line up more. When you start going into single crochets, this will look really weird because you can see that the row has began at the next row. It looks weird. But this is the only time we're going to chain 1 in this pattern for the legs. So I chain my 1, but I'm still going to insert my stitch marker. And you're just going to single crochet all the way around. Now, I'm going to make it where, that's 1. I'm going to pause here and single crochet for the certain amount of rows, because in the previous one that I made the legs a little bit, I made the pant legs a little bit longer, but that's not the look that I want to go for with this one. So let me single crochet and see how much needs to be done, and then I'll come back really, really quickly.